Okay, thank you again for the invitation. The poster is quite interesting. I was wondering, what are those cats doing there? Then I realized that I see in many coffee shops, the one with the waving hand and all that. Interesting. Personally, I chose this particular leaf, wondering why would I show leaves? Some people might understand, will be wondering. Just a slight input to this. This leaf apparently is happen to be a 4-leaf clover. Normally it's a 3-leaf clover, but it's rarity. To have 4 leaves is very rare, and occasionally you can find 5 leaves and even 6-leaf clovers. They are very rare. So the one in the green box is indicative of how rare it is. Like even the 4-leaf is already 5,000 over to 1 case of discovery, and so on. And the cause of it is because of the genetics of it. We won't go into the what they call the science of genetics, but anyway, it's very rare. So luck is rare. Okay, that's what I'm trying to emphasize. And the dictionary definition of luck is the top one is quite interesting. There are 3 definitions. Basically, what they call a force that that brings good fortune or adversity. So good fortune means good luck lah. Adversity means bad luck. But whatever it is, these kind of forces are rare. And sometimes we have people complain, I'm very luckless, I have no luck. And some people have, well, they are luckier than some lah, luckier. And some, of course, people say, oh, everything also he does, everything also so lucky. So we have the full spectrum. Okay. And of course, they usually say, oh, it's because of heaven. And other groups of people say, oh, heaven is expression of love. So they send an angel down and all that. Okay. But there are people who, like I said, luckless or no luck. No luck is one thing, no good luck is one thing, but always have bad luck. That one is very, of course, the term unfair comes in, because if heaven is full of love, why treat me so unfairly? And some groups, they say, oh, the upstairs is testing you. But why must it test? You made the thing, you are perfect, so perfect things don't have problems. So the idea, I'm not saying that there's no such thing, but the idea that there is this luck and testing and fairness or unfairness is, the concept is big question mark. You can ask a lot of questions, you can shoot it down very easily. But people want to believe, they want to close one eye and believe in the luck. They don't want to look at the unlucky portion. And of course, we look at luck. Luck basically operates within the laws of the universe. You cannot have anything in the universe which is not governed by some aspect of laws. And the science that we are forced to learn in school, and scientists are still working to discover, the keyword is called, they are still discovering. Top left-hand corner, we know in our gardens, we want to plant a flower, we want to plant some food, or whatever, or even weeds for that matter, they grow. They come from seeds and they grow. And these are all biological laws. Top right-hand corner, we boil water every day, okay, maybe a few times a day. These are all what they call physical laws. And an interesting notion about boiling water, if you boil water at sea level, the temperature to boil is approximately 100 degrees Celsius, or C or 212 degrees Fahrenheit, for those who prefer Fahrenheit. But if you go up to, say, Himalayas or up in the Alps, very, very high up, the point is no more 100, it's actually lesser, 90 something, okay? Because atmospheric pressure becomes lesser, so the science behind it, there is a reason because of that. And the bottom one is the black and white photograph. You have what they call the photograph of the eye of a hurricane. Fortunately, Malaysia, we don't have hurricanes, although we have seen a few, what they call transient twisters, they call it. This particular photograph is from Wikipedia. It's the Katrina case, where a lot of homes and lives were lost many years ago. In the bottom left, you have what I call science, laws of universe governing even the, what they call the formation of a universe. And we, planet Earth, is part of solar system, which is part of Milky Way, the galaxy, and the galaxy is part of the universe. So we have all these laws of nature. Most of us do not know, don't understand all of this, but we are governed by it. Whether you like it, you believe it or not, it doesn't matter. You come into existence because of nature. You will live a life because of the laws of the universe, and you will pass away because of the laws of the universe. This is the way it is. And of course comes the Buddha. Now what this picture shows, the Buddha's, shall we say, the Bodhisattva's enlightenment underneath the Bodhi tree in the Buddha Gaya. What is this enlightenment? What is a Buddha? Basically, it's not talking about karma and all those kind of things. But the key issue is the Bodhisattva is the discoverer of the natural laws of the universe. He started off as a seeker to find what causes old age, sickness and death. Why is there suffering? Why is there also happiness? Some people's happiness lasts a bit longer, some people's happiness lasts a short while. Okay? Why are people lucky? Why are people not lucky? So while people are born, like guys, tall, dark and handsome, as the general saying goes. Why people are born not so handsome? Okay? Some people 2 legs, some people maybe even have 3 legs. Abnormal births. Maybe born with a spastic, Why? So a lot of questions you want to answer. And the Bodhisattva went out to find answers for this. Under the Bodhi tree is enlightenment. Enlightenment signifies his discovery of all these natural laws. At the particular sutta called the Simsapa Sutta, Simsapa was the name of a forest in which the Buddha bent down to scoop up a palm full of dry leaves. He asked the monks, which is more, the leaves in my palm or the leaves in the forest? Buddha likes to ask all these commonsensical questions. Of course, the monks will say, of course, the leaves in the forest are more. The one in the palm is very much less. And the Buddha said, what I know about the universe are symbolically represented by the leaves in the forest. So he knows a lot of things. But what I'm teaching you are only those leaves in the palm of the hand. Why these leaves? Because it conduces to well-being, to happiness, to liberation. Okay? Because he found out that among all the natural laws of concern to all living beings, humans, devas, even the lower realms and all that, everybody is concerned about old age, sickness and death, and being reborn again and again and again. We want to be happy all the time. So how do we get? So he singled out all those particular laws. He understood all kinds of laws, but he only taught the one in the palms because those specific laws conduce to our well-being. So he found the problem, he understood the problem, he found that the prognosis is good, that means there's a possibility of cure, getting rid of this problem, and then he found the way to achieve this end of that problem, okay, which is essentially the Four Noble Truths. So enlightenment signifies that. So all that he's been teaching is not the Buddha's creation, not his fanciful, I think it's like that, I believe it's like that. No, it is his discovery, okay? And he trying to tell us that this is what he discovered. He found his way out of this so-called cycle of birth and death. He managed to cure old age, sickness and death. And he's sharing the so-called the know-how, the explanation, the understanding. This is the nature of awakening. And of course, this particular page signifies the second knowledge. On Visa Eve, he had the first knowledge. He was able to recall his multiple parts births. Not a few parts births, but he's being born again and again so far back that he went beyond the shall we say, the life of this particular universe we are in now. Okay, he went back multiple universes. So if you ask, what is the origin of life in the universe? That question from the Buddhist point of view is quite ridiculous. Why? Most people thinking, you're thinking about origin of life in planet Earth. No, the Buddha went beyond that, went beyond galaxy, went beyond this universe. Before this universe was born, he went multiple universes before. So he was looking for the origin of life ever. So he went back. He cannot find multitude. Okay, this particular page shows the second, knowledge he was able to fathom. That is the operation of Kamma. Why are people born lucky? Some people are born not so lucky. Some people are born very unlucky. Why people are born very intelligent? Some people born stupid. Some wealthy and some not so wealthy, and so on. All the inequalities of life which we ourselves experience or we see around us. We see people also having these issues. So this is particular aspect. Second, knowledge. And of course, the third knowledge, he went through and understood the what they call dependent co-origination and all that. He was able to uproot the cause of all these problems, and he declared that I am now awakened. I've gone beyond all this. Now, his discovery, or shall we say, many years later, many of the learned monastics who studied the Buddhist scripture were able to reclassify or extract from the lectures by the Buddha that the Buddha was talking about many kinds of laws of natures. And this aspect is summarized in this Pancha Niyama. Pancha means 5. Just now we recited the 5 precepts. Pancha Sila. Sila means precepts. Pancha means 5. So Pancha Niyama, the 5 processes or the 5 universal laws. So in Pali, of course, we have Utu Niyama, Bija Niyama, Kamma Niyama, which you probably have heard, Dhamma Niyama, and Citta Niyama. Now, Utu Niyama, you're talking about physical inorganic order, what they call the seasonal phenomena of winds and rains. Now, Malaysia, sometimes very hot weather. Now, the meteorology department, meteorology, not meteorology. Meteorology department forecast a lot of rain here, flood here, and all this kind of stuff. So this is the weather. Yeah, from the science point of view, those who old enough to have studied geography, I'm not sure, I don't think they have geography in the school syllabus now. Geography, it was called physical geography, or the monsoon. Things like northeast monsoon, southwest monsoon, we are familiar with those. Bija Niyama, order of germs and seeds. These are called the genetics of how cell division and how you plant things, how things grow, whether it's bacteria growth, human growth, plant growth, or whatever. Even how virus operate also. And of course, Kamma Niyama, the order of actions and results, caused by our intentions and so on. And then we have Dhamma Niyama, the order of the norm. We're talking about basic laws like gravity and other similar laws of nature. Now, one characteristic about all these Pancha Niyama, especially with reference to gravity, there's no such thing as expiry. A lot of people say, oh, Buddhism is very old, 2,600 years old. Anything old, we send to the recycle bin or throw away. Unfortunately, we are talking about gravity. We haven't heard of gravity getting expired. We stay on the weighing balance, we are still heavy or light or whatever. So we still have that concern. So this is part of universal laws. Of course, Citta Niyama, the order of mind and psychic law, the operation of the mind and so on. So these are the 5 or Pancha Niyamas that govern. Now, today's sharing will be primarily concerned with some aspect of Kamma Niyama. We are not covering everything about Kamma because Kamma is a big topic and normally invites a lot of questions. The questions alone is more than one talk, even if it's a question from the floor, without the speaker giving any talk. You just answer question also or a lot. So I have to narrow the thing down to certain aspects of Kamma. But sometimes we ask, why did the Buddha bother to what is the use of Buddhism, or why Buddhism? What good is the Dhamma that the Buddha taught? And here, the Buddha gave this answer to the first 60 Arahats, enlightened. The artistic rendition at the bottom is showing the Buddha sending off these monks. Why? Because the Buddha said, out of compassion for the world, you are enlightened, so I'm also enlightened. Right? Go out and share the good news. And what is this Dhamma or good news for? Here, the underlying portion is, it is for the benefit of the common folk, for the happiness, for our welfare. So this is the characteristic. What is Buddhism for? What is the teaching of the Buddha for? For our benefit, lay people, for the benefit, for the happiness, for our welfare. And the Buddha ended the thing, for the welfare, benefit, and happiness of gods and human beings. Notice the God is a small g. Gods are treated as or actually Devas and Brahmas. These are just living beings in different planes of existence. So it is for our benefit. It is not for you to kowtow to the Buddha, pay respect and make him happy. No, he's not interested in that. Okay, he has already enlightened. He has gone beyond the mere happiness that we experience. So it is for our benefit, happiness and welfare. Now, here in this particular Ita Sutta from the Anguttara Nikaya Book of 5, Sutta number 43, you will notice that I often will quote where the teaching comes from. I quote from the so-called the collection of scriptures in the Buddhist. I will quote the sutta name or source, and I will give you the reference. So if you were to go into your browser, your smartphone, you have internet connection, you can check Ita Sutta, or type in Sutta and AN 5.43, you will read the whole Sutta. Here I only provide you excerpts. Okay, Suttas can be short, can be very long, but I provide you with the reference, so you can go back and read more. With this particular Sutta, Ita is what is welcome or what is desirable, what we all want as living beings. So here the Buddha says, commonly, we all want long life. We want beauty in terms of the ladies. Guys want to be handsome. We want to be happy. We want to be famous, or at least well known. Not infamous. We want to be famous for the good reasons. Okay, and when we pass away, we want to be born in heaven. Okay? These are common. Of course, some people more greedy. They will put a comma. They want the some more. I want to have a lot of stocks, a lot of bonds, all that. But this one already very hard to achieve already for most of us. So of these 5 things, house Lord, he's talking some lay people, the Buddha clearly says, I do not teach that they are to be obtained through prayer nor wishing. Now this sutta alone clearly says, the Buddha clearly says, there are no prayers in Buddhism. Buddhists do not pray. Because the word pray means what? I wish, I hope, I appeal to the guy upstairs or some nature or some force or a group of powerful beings. I pray, please, cari favor lah. I go to the tree, I go to the cave, I go to the temple in front of this image, I give fruits, I give this and that. I cari favor. No. The Dhamma as taught by the Buddha is not about prayer. The Buddha clearly says, I do not teach that all the above, the long life, beauty and so on, are to be obtained through prayer, nor through wishing. If one could obtain them through prayer or through wishing, who would not obtain them? Since the time when the human beings in the Stone Age, people were praying because we were subject to all the natural laws, everything. They don't know what's going on. Sometimes flood, sometimes drought, and everything. They pray. Oh, may I, pray to survive, but because they don't have understanding. But in the case of the Buddha, there is 100% understanding. They know what is going on. So therefore, there is no need to pray. And the sutta continues. It is not proper that he should pray for long life, beauty, happiness, fame, and rebirth in heaven. Okay? And the key thing, so what should you do? He should rather follow a way of life that is conducive to all these things that you want, to long life, beauty, happiness, fame, and rebirth in heaven. So the key word is follow a way of life. So you must do something, not pray. Okay? Do something to change your life. Okay? Elsewhere in the teachings, collected teachings of the Buddha, in this case from the Dhammapada, verse 19, the Buddha emphasizes this again. Much though he recites the sacred text. Now, a lot of Buddhists like to do chanting. Chant. Whatever language can be Chinese, can be Indian language, English, whatever. Much though he recites the sacred text, but acts not accordingly. That means the person who only chant, he believes chanting can count him everything, but never practice what the Buddha teaches. That means doesn't follow a way of life. He only does chanting. So the Buddha says that heedless man is like a cowherd who only counts the cows of others. He does not partake of the blessings of the holy life. So which means if you chant only and don't practice what the Buddha advises, you are not following what the Buddha is advising, and you will not gain what you want. And in this The Buddha also gave the counter of this one. Dhammapada verse number 20. Little though he recites the sacred text, that means little does he chant, but more importantly, puts the teaching into practice, forsaking lust, hatred, and delusion, or greed, hatred, and delusion, with true wisdom and emancipated mind, clinging to nothing of this or any other world, he indeed partakes of the blessings of a holy life. So the key emphasis, notice the font is extra big, puts the teaching into practice. Chanting, why was there chanting in the first place during the time of the Buddha? During the time of the Buddha, there was chanting or recitation. Why? They didn't have paper. They didn't have tape recorder or digital recorder. The only way to remember the teacher was listen carefully to the teacher, memorize verbally, verbatim exactly what the teacher says. That means put the lecture into your memory. It doesn't mean you agree with what the teacher says, just put it inside there. Then later on, when you have good memory, then you recall, teacher said this. Is it correct or wrong? Then you evaluate. If it's right, then I want to practice it. So the practice of recitation was for the purpose of putting the book or the teachings into your head so that you can check it out, recall, and so on. That's all. Nothing holy about it, Okay, but today we add on extra things. This is called Buddhism. Buddhism doesn't mean the teaching of the Buddha. Buddhism is the teaching of the Buddha plus, plus, plus. The plus, plus come from where? From people like us. We have a lot of devotion. Blind devotion, we call you. Oh, you must do this, you must do this, you must buy this kind of joystick. The other joystick cannot. You must arrange your fruits this way, or must have this kind of fruit, must have blue lotus to offer, otherwise you cannot run. All these kind of funny add-ons, I call it the plus, plus, plus. All these teachings, plus, 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 cultural and so on. Thailand will different from Myanmar, from Sri Lanka, and Chinese also, Kaliu, and some more. All these are called Buddhism. Okay, so sometimes I say, I am not a Buddhist. I follow what the Buddha says. Different, so there's a connotation. So follow a way of life. So what is the syllabus? Simple. Most of you are familiar with this. It is the Noble Eightfold Path, the path towards happiness. But the key thing you must note, Noble Eightfold Path, the word is, the three words here have very important meanings. It is a path, and the picture shows you a simple path. What does a path do? When you see a path, you don't look at, wow, so beautiful a path, like Japanese garden. You think like that. No, the path is not to be looked at. The path is to bring you from A to B. That means you have to walk on the path. Not look at it, cantik. No, you have to walk. Okay, you have staircase. What's the staircase for? From ground floor, come up to somebody. So it's to be used. It's to be walked on by yourself. Nobody can walk on your behalf. Okay, that is a very important thing. Some philosophies have a concept. Oh, somebody do something extra holy, sacrifice for you. It's like saying, the person eat, I will feel full, kenyang. Can meh? You use your common sense. You got stomachache, the person go to the toilet for you. Oh, then you feel relief. Oh, good lah. If this world is like that, oh, fantastic. But does it, what they call? To me, it defies common sense. We use our everyday experience. We know. Let's say we know for ourselves. This is what kind of nonsensical idea. Throw the idea out. So you have to walk the path. So the path brings you to somewhere. In the case of the Noble Eightfold Path, it brings you to liberation, to enlightenment. It is noble. Why? Because as you gradually practice, and that means by walking the path, the Noble Eightfold Path, it changes you. It changes your character from where you were, okay, a nice person to a better person, or not so good person to a good person, and so on. It transforms you. So you must expect change within yourself. If you do any practice and you have not changed in the last 30 years, okay, some people go, I go for meditation. I've been meditating for 30 years. What meditation you do? Metta, loving kindness. But that fellow, 30 years, must be very experienced. Hey, little thing people, drop something, scold. A lot of anger. The 30 years of meditation failed. You are doing it wrong. Something's wrong. There must be some change. Okay, I know people that meditated for 3 months to 6 months. The family already surrounding the person already say, hey, a lot of change. Last time was what they call have anger management issues. Now the person is more, shall we say, the fuse to get angry become longer and longer. You need to choke the person more to get the person to be angry. That is called progress. You can see, and not the person, the practitioner, didn't realize. He thought, 6 months enough lah. I want to stop, but the family said don't stop. The wife said don't stop. The daughter said don't stop. Hey, these are the people who stay with you. They know your anger management issue. They know you better than you. They say don't stop. Hey, you are progressing. Please do some more. This example is a real case in one of the Buddhist society within Klang Valley. Okay, so do not underestimate all this. And you don't have to be 30 years. Within 3 months or 6 months, you can see details if you're doing it correctly. If you're reading for many years and no progress, don't blame the method. Something wrong with your side. Okay? So walking the path makes you more noble. It changes you for the better. And there are 8. Why is 8-fold and not noble 8 path? Because you cannot pick and choose. Oh, I want to do this. They are very mafana. I don't want to do. No such thing. 8-fold means all 8 come together to support each other. You need to do 8. Nowadays, there are, in fact, recently, one of my relatives sent me a link to an article. They said, people meditate in the West. They have a lot of these mindfulness meditation courses and all this. It's big money, earn money. It's not taught by Buddhist monks, but taught by commercial people. Mindfulness is from Buddhism. Then they found out that some of these people who meditated and say, they are experiencing depression and or some mental issues. So in that, say, Buddhist method, something wrong. Hey, Buddha didn't teach mindfulness. Some of you hear me say that, something wrong. What is Brother Ananda saying? The Buddha didn't teach mindfulness. The Buddha taught right mindfulness. There's a big difference, Notice here, perfect mindfulness or right mindfulness. In Pali, it's called Samma Sati. Samma means perfect, completely, thorough, fully, various. So, and it is part of the Noble Eightfold Path. The Buddhist path is a program, a total program of 8 factors supporting each other. You pick and choose. I choose mindfulness. And what do commercial people do? They forgot about right understanding, they forgot about right thought, they forgot about sila, speech, action, livelihood. They don't bother about that. So all kinds of people do. Even the US military, they have snipers learning how to do mindfulness so they can kill better. More mindful at killing. If they get depression, they blame Buddhism. You have adulterated the thing. The Buddha didn't teach mindfulness. The Buddha taught right mindfulness. Right mindfulness means it's one of the factors within the 8. The 8 support each other. Once you have right understanding, you won't kill, you won't steal, which is under right speech, right action, and all that. So all these are come together. So all these, Noble Eightfold Path, as there are 8 factors that support each other. You yourself must do the thing, do the work to change yourself. That's the key thing. Nobody can do it for you. Okay? You're hungry, you need to eat. You have stomach, you need to go to the toilet, not somebody do it for you. And the whole aspect about the Dhamma, you will find, as in a way summarized here in the Mangala Sutta, that you need to refrain from what is unwholesome. What is unwholesome? Things that cause hurt to other people. You hurt other people by saying, by doing, by writing, whatever. Cause hurt. Okay? Unwholesome. Refrain. So do less and less. We are not perfect. We still do some unwholesome stuff, but we need to do less and less. Of course, target is 0. No more unwholesomeness. And then what about good qualities? We want to introduce good qualities within us. We are not all bad. We have some good qualities. We want to bring it up to a high level. Make it better and better and better. Okay? So this is a general principle for everyday living. Now, another aspect of Kamma is, the Buddha says, you are responsible. And in this particular sutta, the Buddha declares, I am the owner of my deeds or actions. You are responsible. You cannot, I do, and then I blame somebody else. Of course, some people still do that. But as far as Kamma is concerned, you did it, you have to own up. I cannot wash, I go and pray so that bad Kamma no more. The Buddha didn't teach that. I am the owner of my actions. And the worst part about this ownership is heir to my actions. Heir means you inherit. Inherit from what? From your previous life. What you did previously, not the immediate previous life, but sometimes many lifetimes ago, you inherit all this. Whatever you do now, you are sowing the seeds for next few days. Kammas, whatever you do today can affect the next few days or the next few years, next life, or many lives in the future. Okay, you inherit your actions. These are my womb. This my womb is very significant. Why? The Buddha discovered underneath the Bodhi tree that human plane, the Manusa Loka, is not the only plane of existence. There are multiple planes. Okay, we have been around infinity of time. We have been to the lowest realms. We have been born as animals. We have been born as humans. We have been born as Devas. We've probably been born as Brahmas also. But now we are human. So these are my womb, means your actions in the past determine that you will be born now as a human. What you will be born as, don't know. Depending on your actions. My relative, you're born into this family. Who was your father and mother? Determined by your previous actions. Who are your brothers and sisters? Determined. Whether they are good and supportive brothers and sisters, or not so good brothers and sisters, or some brothers are good, some brothers and sisters are bad. Don't know lah. All kinds of mix. And then uncles, aunties, and friends later. So your coming entity determines the starting point. Of course, it can change. So it determines who are your relatives. And the key thing is, your actions determine your refuge, my refuge. What is a refuge? Refuge is now hot sun. The temporary refuge is called umbrella. Okay, shield you from the hot sun. The better refuge, you come to a building lah. I mean, more socks, concrete roof. Okay. And better still, if you're shopping complex or aircon, that's good. It be something that shields you for something you don't like. Hot sun or rain or something like that, a refuge. In this case, refuge, you're talking about the Buddha's teachings. The Buddha's teaching is meant to, for your benefit, for your happiness, for your welfare. So your actions can make it easy for you to come across the Buddha's teachings, or block you from ever hearing or coming to a Dhamma talk. You might plan, I got a chance to hear a talk at somebody, but my boss came, must come to work today, Sunday, something urgent, must come. Something block. Circumstances change. Kamma in action. So I shall be the heir of whatever actions or deeds I do, whether good or bad. So I only give you the bad, but good things, doors can open. Okay. I in your mind, I'm thinking I would like to go for a Dhamma talk. Then suddenly, you come across social media advertisement. Your friend will tell you, "Hey, come, let's go to somebody for the talk." Wow. Hey, your friend also try to pull you around, remind you, Wow. Or somebody must say, "Hey, got meditation retreat coming soon, That means opportunities open in front of you. You get to know, but you still have to make a decision whether you want to go for that. You can go for join the Thailand trip to Achan Jagino for the Katina, or you can, at least you hear about that, then maybe I got a chance to sign up, I want to join. All these kind of things. Opportunities open or doors close, whichever the case. This is caused by the coming energies. Coming energies made by who? You in the past. Now this particular sutta is quite interesting, the Punya Kriya Vatu Sutta from the Itivuttaka, Kuttaka Nikaya. The Buddha said, he was talking to monks, not lay people. He told monks, there are these 3 grounds for making merit or punya. What 3? 1 should train in deeds of merit that yield long-lasting happiness. They're talking about happiness in this cycle of birth and death, here and now. Dana, Sila, Bhavana. Many Buddhists have gone for many talks. You have heard of often these 3 terms. Dana, Sila, Bhavana. What is dana? Giving. Generous, respectful giving. Sila, virtue or moral training. For lay people, we start off with at least the 5 precepts. When you are higher level of training, then we go for the advice given in the Salayaka Sutta. There are 10. Not 10 precepts, there are 10 training levels, okay, in the Salayaka Sutta. Then you have bhavana, mental cultivation or development. In other words, meditation. Basic one, metta lah. Or you can go higher and higher, satipatthana practices and so on. So even here, the Buddha advised even the monks, to make merit. Why? Merit is Kamma. Kamma determines the quality of life. The monk also needs good merit, Why? To be able to renounce, he must be able to find a good teacher, a place to stay. After all, a monk is homeless. He needs, when he goes out for Pintachara, he needs to be able to find food. Okay? Some monks go out, very hard to find food, Okay? Not enough to eat or nothing to eat for a few days. So these are the issues. So even monastics need good karma. Don't talk about lay people. So by cultivating these three things, these yielding happiness, the wise person is reborn in bliss in an untroubled, happy world. Now, here's a little bit slightly smaller. Now, what determines what common people say, good karma and bad karma? Okay, what causes that? How do you classify good and bad karma? This is one of the suttas. There are many suttas. The Kamma Nidana Sutta from the Anguttara Nikaya, Book of 6, Sutta number 39. The Buddha talks about greed, hatred, and delusion are sources that give rise to actions, because actions are karma. So, okay, greed doesn't give rise to non-greed. Hate doesn't give rise to non-hate. Delusion doesn't give rise to non-delusion. So if you sow those seeds, you will get that kind of thing, like the picture shows. You want to plant mango seed, you expect to, hopefully a tree will grow and you get mango fruits. You cannot plant a mango seed, you expect to get tomato or apple or whatever, cannot. So you plant that seed, you plant non-greed, then you get non-greed fruits. Now here, this part is quite interesting. It is not because of actions or deeds born of greed, hatred, and delusion that gods, humans, and those in any other good places are found. This part is quite important in the sense that because you did certain thing rooted, the action rooted or motivated by greed, hatred, and delusion, you cannot find get a chance to be reborn in, they say gods means Deva worlds, born again as humans, in those of any other good places. You cannot expect, if you do bad things, you cannot expect to be born as a Deva, even as a human. In fact, you are destined to be further lower than human realm. So rather, it's because of deeds born of greed, hatred, and delusion that hell, the animal realm, the ghost realm, and any other bad places are found. Okay, the Buddha has this way of teaching that shows you. So these are the three sources that give rise to greeds: greed, hatred, and delusion. They make bad karma, as most people say. So monks, there are these three sources that give rise to deeds. Non-greed, non-hate, non-delusion are sources that give rise to deeds. So clearly, non-greed doesn't give rise to greed. Non-hatred doesn't give rise to hatred. Non-delusion doesn't give rise to delusion. So the picture clearly shows that if you cultivate non-hate, you cannot have hateful reactions. Now, it is not because of this born of non-greed, non-hatred, and non-delusion that hell, animal realm, ghost realm, and any other bad places are found. So definitely gods, humans, and good places are found in these places where there is non-greed, non-hatred, and non-delusion. And elsewhere in the Buddhist scripture, you have in this case Dhammapada verse number 18, the Buddha says, "The doer of good delights here and hereafter. He delights in both the worlds. The thought, good have I done, delights him, and he delights even more when gone to realms of bliss." Now here, delights here and now. Delights means you have been doing some good actions in this life as a human being. Delights here means the next few days, weeks, months, years, you feel happy that you have done something good. And hereafter means after you pass away in the next existence, you still feel happy because of that. Okay, so realms of bliss means realms higher, humans or higher planes of existence. Now, since I will talk about gods, humans, hungry ghosts, and all that, so I have to show these planes of existence as discovered by the Buddha. So the Buddha discovered there are 31 planes of existence. I know that sometimes when you read, different teachers will say, oh, there are 6 realms of existence. It's called reclassifying, grouping all this into another slightly, what they call, lesser number. So it's a matter of regrouping. Here I'm giving you the detailed one. Now, started off with plane number 1, hells. We probably have been there in the past. Hopefully we don't go there in the future. Hell worlds. We've been born as animals. We see animals around us. Ghost planes. We are familiar with Petas, the Hungry Ghost Festival and all that. Those are lower planes. And demons, asuras. Now, whatever plane of existence I show here, all of them have a lifespan. They are born, they live a life, they pass away. So you're not there permanently. Some religions say, oh, you didn't follow my religion, you will go to hell forever. The Buddha says, no lah. Human, you think you live forever, man? Similarly, the one in the hell also live a short life and then pass away. You born in the heavens, you born there, live a life, you also pass away. So this is called, the 31 planes is called samsara, the cycle of being born, live a life, and passing away. You go up and down. And where you go depends on your actions. So each time your action change, you go different, you qualify for certain things. So number 5, human. You're not very high up, Okay. Number 5, from the bottom, Number 1 is hell, of course. So manusa loka. So we are very familiar with that. And the number 6, the 4 great kings, Chatu Maharajika. Well, there's a picture on the top right. Chinese, culture has that. 4 great kings. This is a Deva world, just higher than humans. And then you have Tavatimsa, heaven of the 33. Some of you may be familiar. Tavatimsa, that's where the Buddha went up to teach the Abhidhamma and so on. Heaven of Yama Devas and heaven of delight, Tusita, number 9. Tusita is important because the Buddha's, or rather Prince Siddhartha's mother, Queen Mahamaya, when she passed away 7 days after giving birth to Prince Siddhartha, she passed away and was reborn in Tusita, number 9. But then people heard, hey, the Buddha taught Abhidhamma in Tavatimsa. How? She was able to, because higher Tusita, she was able to come down to, not reborn, just visit Tavatimsa heaven to listen to the Buddha teach the Abhidhamma. But she is a resident of Tusita. Okay, her passport is Tusita. Okay, and of course, number 10, you have the Devas who delight in creating. And number 11, Devas who delight in creation. Mara, the Deva, the one that bought kacau, is somewhere between number 10 and number 11, somewhere there. It's only a Deva, Now, the problem with, you notice I use the word Deva. And here the thing is Deva. A lot of English language translators have termed those planes that is higher than the human rank as gods, small G-O-D. Okay, English language doesn't have the word Deva. Deva is an Indian word. So English language has been strongly influenced by the Christian philosophy. So Christian philosophy only has, you follow what their teacher says, you'll be born in heaven, satu saja, okay, and live there forever. You didn't follow, you go to hell forever. So heaven, human, and hell, for them it's only 3. Here we got 31. So in a way, using the word born in the plane of gods, that one is can cause some wrong understanding. We think of like the English language. So I prefer to use the word Devas. Purposely go away from the English word. Beg your pardon? Some of them, they have addition. As you go up, lifespan becomes longer. They have certain abilities, some extra powers. They do these things. Human. General rule of thumb in Buddhist circles, we say, try not to be born as a Deva, just born as a human, fortunate human. Why? As a human, You can see suffering, maybe you suffer. You see happiness. You can see heaven on earth. You can see hell on earth, sort of lah. That's the saying. So because of that, you see, oh, so much uncertainty. Shall we say, you give yourself a kick in the butt and say, oh, I must do something to I don't want to be suffering. I don't want to be overly. You go high up, some people at number 6, they already, everyday disco, enjoy already. You try to teach dukkha, apa itu, what they're talking about, I want to enjoy myself. So sometimes you're distracted even at number 6. Even at number 6. But for a lot of Buddhist practitioners, even monks, who have not gained enlightenment, they've been cultivating their dana, sila, bhavana very well, but not enlightened, they, shall we say, are disqualified as far as karma is concerned. They make so much wholesome karma that they cannot be born as human. They be born in the higher realms, usually Deva realms. But if their commitment to practice the Dhamma is so strong, when they pass away, they are reborn meditating in that plane, Tavatimsa heaven, they still continue. And they will look around among the Devas. Oh, you're a practitioner. You were formerly a monk under the Buddha. Oh, come, let's together. So there are small pockets of living beings in the higher Deva world that are practicing. If they various. The higher and higher, the chances become lesser and lesser and lesser because too much distraction. No, this is not arupa. They still have a body. That one worse. The bottom right, the green box, those who have meditated and able to achieve first jhana. Jhana means it's a unit of measure of deep concentration. First jhana. Then second jhana, deeper still. Third jhana, even deeper. Fourth jhana, and so on. So when you are very well practiced, you can go into jhana and come out easily. Okay, you qualify for plane existence number 12 to 14. Okay, then higher up, then 15, 17, 18, 20. There's one plane existence, or rather group of plane existence, 23 to 27, the pure abodes. This one is reserved for people who have become enlightened up to the third stage of enlightenment, anagamis. They are born there, and they are called non-returners because they don't return to the human realm. They are sort of born there. They continue practicing there. Now, everybody there is a practitioner, but they are already Arya, so definitely going to be Arahant, only matter of time. They'll continue practicing until they attain Arahatship. And then, of course, number 28 or 31, Arupa Loka, they don't have a body. Try not to go there. Don't have a body, very hard to hear Dhamma teachings and all that, all mind only. So you have blissful for their lifespan can be as long as the universe, but no enlightenment. So generally best as a human. I do not know. I don't know where, because from the Theravada point of view, Kuan Yin is a bodhisattva. The word bodhisattva means, bodhi means enlightenment, sattva means a being. A being cultivating to be a Buddha, which means as long as, and you're not even a Sotapanna, you're not an Arya, you are just a Putu Jhana trying to become enlightened. Now the person can be wise, but the person is still not enlightened. As long as you're not enlightened, you have not uprooted the 10 defilements, which means a bodhisattva can do wrong, can even break the 5 precepts occasionally. May not break, as if you're just starting out as a bodhisattva, maybe 5 precepts break a bit more frequently, but if you're well practiced, almost on the verge of want to almost be just before your last birth, chances of breaking is maybe minimal already or zero . So even bodhisattva got grayscale as to their how much time they spend in samsara practicing. So to say the bodhisattva is enlightened, big question mark from the Theravada point of view. I have no comments about the Mahayana side. Okay, that one is another viewpoint . Now, I mentioned dana, sila, bhavana. Dana is very important. In this particular sutta from the Iti Vuttaka, the Buddha says, if beings knew, as I know, the result of giving and sharing, they would not eat without having given, nor would they allow the stain of meanness to obsess them and take root in their minds. So giving is very, very important. And most of the time we talk about giving is during Pintacara, okay, going on alms round for the monks. Now we come to the main topic of today, as mentioned in the poster, Velāma Sutta. The earlier slides were setting up. Now, why did I choose Velāma Sutta? Because the translated as the scale of good deeds. It includes dana, sila, bhavana. But the problem with Buddhists are that we say, I want to make merit, I want to do good deeds. So the only way they know is dana. Which one of the objectives of today's sharing is I want to dispel that notion. Dana is not the only way to make merits. Don't be 100% obsessed with merits. Some people chase to make dana, all kinds of funny things. Among Buddhists, we got that wrong conception. And even dana also got many kinds of dana. But there are other practices. Remember the earlier sutta? Dana, sila, bhavana. Sila and bhavana also makes merits. But everybody forgot about the other two, concentrate on dana. So here, this particular sutta, the Buddha emphasizes, or rather gives you a scale, there's a range of possibilities for you to make merits. So at one time, the Buddha was staying near Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Ananda Pindika's monastery, the millionaire who bought the land and built Jetavana Grove. Then the householder, Ananda Pindika, went to the Buddha, bowed and sat to one side. And then ... The sutta continues, you can read. So I extract certain things. Now here the Buddha talks about some people give something, say give food or something like that, give carelessly, thoughtlessly, not with their own hand. Now when dana means important donating something, like especially in inviting a venerable here, you want to, some people say, "Ayah, so mafan, I want to go to somebody. Never mind, I pay you $50, you go and buy something, you donate on my behalf." Notice what the Buddha says. They give carelessly, thoughtlessly. And the important part is, not with their own hand. That part very important, You want to be present. You want to scoop the rice, the dish, into the monk's plate or bowl, Do it personally. Why? Kamma is about intention. When you are planning to come to somebody for a dana, for a bhante, you are already planning. Oh, what day is that? Oh, Sunday. What time? Oh, so I must be there. What do you want to offer? You want to cook? Or you do not want to cook? Okay, you want to buy. You can cook, maybe you cook a certain dish. Then you check with the organizers here. Is the bhante a vegetarian, non-vegetarian, whatever? Vegetarian, then I must cook something vegetarian. So you cook lah. So you have to take the trouble, you think. That means before the dana, you're already thinking, planning. All these are wholesome things, You're planning to do a wholesome thing. So these are preamble. So you're generating wholesome merits already, even before going to dana. So you're planning and then you cook, you do the cutting, you plan everything. Oh, dana so early. I normally wake up late. Okay, so I must cut the vegetables and put the fridge before, maybe the evening before. When I wake up, I just have to put it on the wok and do the thing. Then I come, part my car nicely, come. Then I see the bhante, then your thinking also changes also. The feelings of reverence, of respect, of gratitude. Because the monks wear saffron robe, they are representative of the Mahasangha, the lineage from the Buddha all the way down. You have also wholesome thoughts. Meanwhile, when you're thinking that, you're generating a lot of wholesome coming energies. You haven't even scooped until the alms bowl yet, You're already generating a lot of that. So when the come comes, come. The organizers here will say, come, line up and offer to the plate or to alms bowl. Then you offer. Okay? Then you offer mindfully with your hand. Awfully. It can be a small teaspoon, it can be a what? Sometimes teaspoon, why? So many people. Even teaspoon, big mountain, the bhante cannot finish. No way, physically not possible. So must be practical just to offer. Offer. Then you leave the bhante alone, he partakes in the meal. After the bhante will maybe give a Dhamma talk or sharing of merits and all that. Even after the whole occasion finish, 1 week later, you think back, oh, there was a dana last week, okay, I was planning how to do, I cooked this dish, I bought the vegetable from the market to do this, I did this. During the dana, I did this. When you have mindfulness in doing all this, your memory becomes very good. You remember what you did previously, not 1 week ago. Certain things I did more than 30 years ago, I still remember today. When you have mindfulness, you remember that activity at that specific location very, very clearly. When you do it, carelessly, thoughtlessly, the memory comes and goes. 1 week later, I did dana, is it? Oh, you also forgot. Okay, so that one is very important, mindfully. When you have more mindful in doing a wholesome deed, the merit generated is even more intense. So when you do something wholesome, whether dana, even sila, the Buddha advised, in this case dana, some people do it carelessly, thoughtlessly, not with their own hand. Okay, they give the dregs. Dregs means like leftover, right at the bottom, like jafana, so a little bit, you have dregs. Those are the dregs, and they give without consideration for consequences, the karmic effect. Then, wherever the result of any such gift manifests, their mind doesn't incline toward enjoyment. When you give a lot of dana, there's a lot of happiness before, during, and after giving. Okay, because they didn't do it properly, doesn't incline toward enjoyment of nice food. So even if you have nice food also, fatiu chong and all that, you don't enjoy. Just food lah, like that. Clothes, vehicles, and the 5 refined kinds of sensual stimulation. And their children, the wives, bond servants, employees, workers, don't want to listen to them. They don't pay attention or try to understand. And here, the direct opposite. When they do dana, they give it carefully, thoughtfully, with their own hand. They don't give the dregs. They give with consideration for the consequences. Then, wherever the result of any such gift manifests, their mind inclines toward enjoyment. So when you do merits and meritorious, there's happiness, coming out within you. Okay, before, during, and after. So you enjoy the nice food, the clothes, the vehicles, and all that. And their children, wives, bond servants, and so on, they pay attention. They want to listen and try to understand what you want, because that is the result of this done carefully. So when you do a wholesome thing, please do mindfully and carefully. Now the sutta continues in great detail. This portion is very interesting. Once upon a time, a householder who was a Brahmin named Velāma, so Velāma was the name of the person, was actually the Buddha in the many past births beforehand. He was a rich man. He gave the following gift, a great offering, a mahadana, not just a dana, but mahadana, great giving. 84,000 gold bowls filled with silver, 84,000 silver bowls filled with gold. Wow, so many, all the 84,000. I still haven't found out the Indian fixation with the number 84,000. They seem to like this number. Some of this is poetic. Very often in the suttas, you hear the sutta mentioning 500 months. Actually, nobody went around and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No lah. 500 means many, many months. Okay, but 84,000, I'm not too sure yet lah. But it's part of Indian culture. Okay, they like to use 84,000. Very on for them lah. Okay, now let me move to the next page. Householder. I myself was the Brahmin Velāma at that time. I gave that gift, the great offering. But at that event, there was no one worthy of a religious donation and no one to purify the religious donation. Now, that statement is very important. When you want to do a wholesome thing, dana, there are 3 aspects. One is the giver, you want to do the dana. The gift must be worthy, okay, a good gift, a relevant gift. Like you come to somebody, you want to give a gift to the Bante. You don't give the Bante PlayStation. I mean, common sense, isn't it? are you talking about? Why you give this kind of irrelevant kind of play games? Bhante doesn't play games. You give the play, so totally irrelevant. And the person who receives, if it's a religious person, must be worthy of receiving it. What is a worthy reverend? The venerable who observe the patimokkha, the what they call the rules of conduct for a monk. The monk who is cultivating. Better still, if the monk has been cultivating for some time and has attained certain levels of spiritual. May not be Arya yet. Arya, better still. If not, at least, it means the recipient is worthy to receive. Not somebody, what they call, Juri Tulang, or somebody they will say, Buta Gaji. They treat the robe as, oh, you give me one, is my gaji. Some reverends may do that. So you choose who to invite, a worthy reverend. So the giver must have the right state of mind. The gift must be relevant for the occasion. Dana, to feed the reverend. Okay. You buy him a bus ticket for him to travel from A to B. You want to support that. That's okay. On the reverend must be also worthy to receive it. So 3 levels. So we are talking about a person able to purify the religious donation. So who is the recipient? Got the worthy one or not? Now, going deeper now. 2. If it would be more fruitful to feed one person accomplished in view. View means understanding. Diti. Okay, samaditi. Accomplished in right understanding. More fruitful. There is a person who is already, to some degree, enlightened. Number 3, it would be more fruitful to feed once returner, sakadagami, than 100% accomplished in view. Notice, if you are giving to a sotapan, you get a certain amount of merits. You give to the second stage of enlightenment person, you get even more merits. I said the Buddha used the term, you give to a person who attained the second stage of enlightenment, is more fruitful than you give to 100 of these sotapan people. 100, there's a lot, And number 4 and 5. Number 4, it will be more fruitful to feed one non-returner, anagami, the person who has attained the third stage of enlightenment, than 100 once returners, sakadagami. And number 5, it will be more fruitful to feed one perfected one, an arahat, to feed one arahat, than 100 anagamis. You can see the So who you offer the food to is very, very important. So before, how do you know that the monk is worthy? You have to check him out lah. You must observe how the monk behaves and so on.
Isn't that a form of elitism?
It's not elitism. It's called.
If you had somebody who's really poor and needy and impoverished, can't feed themselves, versus someone who's perhaps arahant but has access to a lot of other people giving dana, that surely is more beneficial from a karma point of view to give to all these people who are impoverished and in need, who may not have access to an arahant, who might have other people who are giving dana.
Yes.
So that's a form of elitism.
I wouldn't say it's elitism. I would say it's the use of wisdom. What you have, actually the example you gave, is what I call a wise choice. A very important wise choice. A lot of people just donate, irrespective of who are the recipients. Could be scammers or fly by night, or people pretend to be poor, and all these kind of things. But if you choose to give to those who are poor, yes, any kind of giving, even to a person not worthy to receive, you will receive wholesome karmic energies. You will get more if you say give to a person that, like you said, who deserves food because they are poor. And then of course there is another aspect to it. Do you just give food, or you give food now, but you teach the person a skill, like the standard English saying, teach the person how to fish, instead of feeding the person fish. That's a difference. So that is another level of giving, different kinds of giving. But if all the people around are prosperous, then you choose what they call who are the more worthy ones. Do you give to what they call a con man who pretends to be very hungry, very poor? You're those professional beggars. They fly in from Thailand to Singapore with a lot of tangkai. They make a buck and then they fly back with a lot of earnings. So your ability to analyze to see the person, whether the person is worthy. Should I give to this kind of people, or should I go to the orphanage and donate?
Yeah, but that doesn't answer my question. So what I'm saying is that you're talking about the extreme of a scammer comment. So obviously that's an easy choice. But we're talking about the less easy choice of someone who's perfected or arahant or non-returner versus 100 people who are perhaps very, very honest and good, but they can't feed themselves. So are you saying that feeding arahant who, like I said before, may have access to 100 people who are prepared to give him dana versus 100 other people who, nice, noble, honest people who are so hard done by, say, Venezuela, who can't feed themselves because the government's terrible? And are you saying that that's more beneficial to feed the Buddhist monk who lives in Singapore or Malaysia, in Setia Alam, who has a lot of 100 people who are prepared to give him dana versus someone in India or Tanzania who can't afford, who are not able to feed themselves, who are honest people? So I think personally, if you're looking at that, that's elitism.
That's your way of thinking. But the problem is your example gave another practical problem. That is difficult for us to be able to evaluate where are the causes. That means to say that of course we won't give to the scammer, but that's how the scammer earns a lot of meaning, because still a lot of people give. So question mark about why those people. So he is able to pretend. Then if we have the intention to feed those who are hungry, then we will need to go and look out for all those people. So we have to identify. We have to do the work to identify which homes or which groups of people. Maybe there was a calamity there, we want to help. Go ahead. Okay. We're not saying that you will not get wholesome merits. You will get. In fact, if you keep on doing that a lot, and coming across arahats or whatever is very rare. So, and it doesn't mean that arahats always get a chance to makan, because of the location they find themselves in. And arahats do not advertise. You do not know whether this monk standing in front of you is an arahat or not. You have to spend some time observing. Now, a lot of these people who actually donates to so-called worthy monks, they have to do the trouble to look out, seek out those monastics who have been practicing and spend some time with them, observing their behavior and so on. But these kind of people are so wholesome that they do not restrict themselves to only, I only give offer food to those kind of monks. They're so rare. That means this person will hardly be giving anything to anybody. So what happens? By that person's innate character, almost certainly this person will be going out to do other kinds of giving, like the ones you mentioned, to charitable organizations to help out. And I know people that actually go out and cook, gather donations from their friends and relatives. They do the cooking, they package, and they have what they call meals on wheels. They go out to, say, Kuala Lumpur, they feed the homeless and all that. They do that. But they are also...
But feeding Bante in Satyalam or somebody here on a Sunday lunchtime where there's 50 people who can give him a lunch versus going very quickly to the Chowkit orphanage where there's 100 kids who can't feed themselves. I will give my money to the Chowkit orphanage. I'm not saying I won't give dana to Bante and all that and Patek, but I think it's more meritorious in my way of seeing it.
Yes, up to you.
To give to 100 children in orphanage who cannot feed themselves versus Bante in Setia Alam who has a regular dana all the time. Isn't it? That's an easy comparison to make.
That is your opinion. But persons like you, like myself, and so on, many others in the Buddhist community, if they are able to give and they have developed their generosity and giving nature to that extent, they will do both. They will be doing both. In fact, so rare, so difficult to find a virtuous monk. Opportunities for the monk is rare. They will also avail themselves to the opportunity to give to the monk. But meanwhile, while we're looking for another monk to come, they would have been supporting this organization, offering, cooking, and distributing. So they're already doing all. So they're doing everything, both categories. So what I'm trying to emphasize here is the quality of what they call giving. If they so happen they're able to come across a worthy person, then they earn even more merits. If they happen to give a lot of people, all the more. But here is the Buddha trying to emphasize the case of a person who has been doing a lot of work to purify themselves. The advantage of giving to these people, why are they worthy, is because their understanding of the laws of nature have progressed to some extent that they're able to share with you something. It's like in a way it's a bad analogy, but teaching a person how to fish, okay, give you the know-how, as opposed to people waiting for the fish. Okay, of course Buddhists do not encourage you to catch fish, but that is a standard English saying. So here the Buddha is just comparing if you were to give. So in the case, of course, this sutta actually continues further and talks about if you were to give to a Buddha awakened for themselves, in the Pacceka Buddha, a silent Buddha. So a silent Buddha, or even finally the Samma Sambuddha, the person is more knowledgeable, more skillful at teaching, and able to teach more people how to fish, sort of lah. In this case, how to liberate themselves. And these people would already be very virtuous, like Ananda Pindika, who donated the Jetavana monastery. He was, in fact, the word Ananda Pindika is not his name. His personal name is Sudatta. Ananda Pindika means feeder of the poor. So he was already a very, very virtuous person. He was already feeding until people give him nickname, the feeder of the poor. Until the Buddha referred to him not by his normal personal name, he called him Ananda Pindika. Except for the first time he met, the Buddha said, "Oh, Sudatta, you come. Then he will teach." So in this case, a lot of people are trying to cultivate the essential point here is that of the giving nature, of detachment, of helping. So his mindset, the walking along the path, the mindset of compassion, of loving kindness, wanting to help. He's not trying to discriminate, but then he sees some people, all of these people need help. He still donates. But he sees people, very worthy. He also donates. Better, both worlds. So you're not saying we don't want to give to the monk, you only give to these people. Some people do that.
So that makes more sense in the sense that you're giving to say a Buddha who can
teach,
do more good than compared to say 100 orphans. So I mean,
no, it's not that. It's not mutually exclusive. It's called all-encompassing.
But if you had $100 to give, what would you choose? Or $1 to give, who would you choose?
That's up to you.
Exactly.
The choice is yours. And even if you have $100 at that time, you strike lottery, you get $100. A worthy monk may not be available. So then you give to somebody else who you think benefits them more. Wait first. Now, the important thing now here is, if you are able to find somebody who is worthy, then all the more. Now, it doesn't have to be $100. Doesn't mean you must give all the $100 to the monk. It's not that. It is not the amount of money. It can be a teaspoonful of, you cook broccoli dish, 1 teaspoon you give. That's all I know. It's called the mind state. But that means if you took, say, 5 ringgit to buy the broccoli and cook the thing, the dish may be only 5 ringgit plus your labor and oil and gas that you give. 95 ringgit you are giving to the orphanage. Okay, so the emphasis here is on cultivating the virtue of giving, of having the compassion to help others. And because of that, here the sutta mentions a lot of people with right view of once returner, non-returner, arahat, and even the Pacceka Buddha. Here the page talks about the Buddha identified that there were 2 kinds of people in the world. We're not talking about IQ, we're talking about awakening stages. So we are all putu janas, one of the worldling. Okay, we have not realized. And if you are enlightened to varying degrees, you are called an Arya, a noble, distinguished person who has gained that knowledge. A lot of the arahats during the Buddha's time were able to teach. And one particular arahant, in a way touching on the topic, was Venerable Mahakasyapa. In a way, the first patriarch in Mahayana Buddhism. Now, one thing about this venerable was, he's a Dutanka bhikkhu, and rich people like to invite him to go back to their house, their mansion, to offer dana. He refused. He is an enlightened monk. What he did was, he wanted to avail himself for other people to make merits. What did he do? He walked the streets. People would offer food. He refused to go to rich man's house or the palaces or whatever. He will walk on the streets, let the ordinary lay people to offer food. However, little bit. The little bit, you push it to the extreme. Mahakasyapa one day saw a beggar lady at the roadside. Beggar, So beggar definitely doesn't have things to offer. The beggar needs to be supported. But when you went through the recitation on the qualities of the Sangha, one of the things mentioned is called incomparable field of merit. Why? When you offer to an enlightened person, to become enlightened, you need to do a lot of work. That means already become more worthy. So if you're an Arahant, you're the most worthy. Now, so Mahakasyapa went up to this beggar lady and asked, can you offer something? Then the beggar lady said, I am already a beggar. I have nothing to offer you. How to offer? Then there was a lot of conversation. And then finally, she was sufficiently inspired by Mahakasyapa that she had managed to collect a little bit of wastewater. You know what kind of wastewater? We wash rice before we cook rice. We wash. So we throw away the so-called not so clean water, the first rinse, second rinse, third rinse, whatever. They pour out of the house. So this lady collected that water to drink, So she collected that little bit of water. She still got some of this wastewater, not even boiled water, wastewater from washing rice. She offered to the Venerable Mahakasyapa with the conviction that may you be well and happy, even though she's a beggar. So whatever little bit, the water. And he drank that water immediately in front of her, and she felt very, very happy. And sometime later, she was already an old lady. She passed away, and the text mentioned that she was reborn in the Deva world because of that very act of reflecting and feeling happy for having been able to do that little bit. It's called donating wastewater. Not even cooked stuff, People throw away in the drain, This one, wastewater to the Arahant. So illustration of incomparable field of merit because you're offering to an Arahant. So he drank the water in front of her, making her feel that, this is of use. I've done something. And the other aspect of it is Mahakasyapa offered himself because he knew that he was of incomparable field of merit. So when the monk goes wrong on Pintachara, some people will think, the monk is poor because the word bhikkhu means beggar. Okay, a homeless one. So you need to feed the person. But the reverse of it is, in the qualities of the Sangha, is an incomparable field of merit. The monk is offering himself as an opportunity for you to do giving. The other side. Because you're trying to say that he is worthy because he has been practicing. If he is attained, even better. If he is not attained, but at least he's still struggling to attain, so he is worthy. So when you offer and you reflect upon that, you gain wholesome merits. So the giving aspect, it got two aspects. Some people say, the monk got nothing to eat, so I need to feed the monk. The other way is, the monk is offering you the chance to earn merits. That is the other way. So here you're talking about Arya. Now, what do you mean by Arya? In the earlier passages, we're talking about the Sotapan, Sakadagami, Anagami, and Pachika Buddha. Here, enlightenment is talking about the 10 fetters. We are Putujana because we have not uprooted, got rid of permanently all these 10 fetters. So the person who attains the Sotapan level, or the first stage of stream winning, has already uprooted personality belief, skeptical doubt, clinging to mere rules and rituals. We have uprooted that. And then the person who has toned down a lot of sensuous craving and ill will attains Sakadagami, the second stage of sainthood. And the third stage of sainthood, Anagami, is the person who has uprooted sensuous craving and ill will. Uprooted, that means it doesn't come back. Which means to say, from this list, a Sotapan can still get angry. Okay, don't think that it's not Arya. Why? Anger is rooted in ill will. So only at third stage of sainthood, the person who is Anagami do not know how to get angry. Sakadagami, chances are unlikely to get angry, but still has got that ill will little bit toned down already. And Sotapan definitely can get angry. And of course, fourth stage of stream winning, Arahat, the person has uprooted craving for fine material existence to be born in the Deva world. Some people crave, I want to be born in heaven, the highest heaven. Craving for immaterial existence, some people want to be born in the formless, only mind, no body. And you've got rid of conceit. Conceit is, I know better than you, I am great. Restlessness, and most important, ignorance. It is the conquest of ignorance that renders you not qualified to be born again. So the person who is an arahat got rid of all 10 fetters, especially that of ignorance, avijja. The person on passing away doesn't have the seed to be born again. Okay, it's not because of karma, no. Not because you use up your karma, you cannot be born again. It is because there is no more ignorance. Okay, if you have ignorance, you can be born again. Then karma is like fertilizer, the watering and fertilizer. But the seed is avijja. So you need to get rid of avijja to stop rebirth. And some people say, the Bodhisattva who later became the Buddha went out to cure old age, sickness and death. But he is still dying, ma. This is a logical observation. But if you look back at the samsara, as long as you are born, you will pass away. When, how, sickness, old age, you live long life, short life, that's immaterial. But as long as you are born, you will pass away. That goes for the Buddha's body or his Prince Siddhartha's body, shall we say. So as long as he has a body, he has to pass away. But you have cured death, how? By not being born. So therefore, with no more ignorance in the case of the Arahats or the Buddha, he is not qualified to be born. He cannot be born. When he's not born, he cannot die. That's how he cures all these aspects. And the scale goes on further. Okay, it will be more fruitful to feed one Samma Sambuddha, a fully awakened Buddha, than 100 Pacheka Buddhas or silent Buddhas. And number 8, it will be more fruitful to feed monastic Sangha. They call it Sangika Dana. Sangika Dana means offering to the Buddha and the whole Sangha. The Sangha headed by the Buddha. Then to feed the Sammasambuddha. So if you have the Buddha together with his monastic, the monks together with him, you feed that group as opposed to one Sammasambuddha. Then number 8 becomes more fruitful. And number 9 is interesting. More fruitful to build a dwelling, a vihara, especially for the Sangha of the 4 quarters, than to feed, to conduct a Maha Sangika Dana. Now, dwelling, here is a place to stay for the monks. Now, I sidestep a little bit. Remember, I mentioned Anatta Pindika, his real name, his family name, not family name, his personal name is Sudatta. Anatta Pindika means feeder of the poor. So this page, without going through in detail, basically he met the Buddha called him Sudatta, and he taught him the Dhamma. He attained the first stage of sainthood, and he decided to support the Buddha and the Sangha. And what he did was, he went to outside of Savatthi, looked for a nice park area, Jeta's Grove. He negotiated with Prince Jeta, who owned the land, and the cost of the land was such that he had to cover the whole piece of land with coins, gold coins. That is the price of the thing. But since he was a millionaire, he was able to afford that. He bought the land and built Jetavana Monastery. Today, if you go to India, you can still visit Jetavana Monastery. The remnants, only the foundation stones are still left behind. Now, after building the monastery, he decided, at the bottom of the page, how should I proceed with the offering of this Jetavana? The Buddha said, you may dedicate to the Sangha of the 4 quarters, present and future. It means for present monks and the future groups of Sangha to use. And this is some of the artistic rendition of this situation. And more importantly, the Buddha expressed his appreciation to Anatta Pindika. They ward off cold and heat and beasts of prey from there, and creeping things and nuts and rains in the wet season. When the dreaded hot wind arises, that is warded off. To meditate and obtain insight in a shelter and at ease. A dwelling place is praised by the awakened one as chief gift to an order. Therefore, a wise man looking to his own will should have dwelling places built so that the learned ones can stay therein. For these, food and drink, raiment and lodgings, he should give to the upright, with mind purified. Then these will teach him the Dhamma, dispelling every ill. He, knowing that Dhamma, here attains Nibbana, cankerless. Okay, so this is what the Buddha said, recorded to have said to Ananda Pinnika for having built Jetavana monastery. So after the dwelling, we are talking about going for refuge. Now, up to number 8 was all dana to different groups, to various groups of higher and higher, more qualified personnel. But number 9 was a dwelling, a place for the monks to stay. Not a stupa, not a pagoda, but a place for the monastics to stay and to practice. Number 10 is talking about going for refuge. Okay. Now, earlier we had the puja, and which we went for refuge. The picture on the bottom right is interesting, in which normally refuge, today we're talking about Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, going to the Buddha for refuge. Dhammang Saranang Gacchami, going to the Dhamma for refuge. Sanghang Saranang Gacchami, go to the Sangha for refuge. The bottom right picture shows 2 businessmen who came to visit, who come across the Buddha, and at that time there was no Sangha. So they took refuge in the Buddha and Dhamma only. Okay, so these were the twofold refuge. And the Buddha was seated around the Bodhi tree area. So this is the first 2 lay disciples who offered do dana to a Sammasambuddha. But they took refuge in the Buddha and Dhamma. There were no institution of monastics at that time. And then, higher than that, better than going for refuge, is that of undertake the training rules. Sikkhapada. Sikkhapada means training. And not to kill living beings, not to steal, not to commit sexual misconduct, not to lie, not to take alcoholic drinks or cause negligence. Okay, so this is higher than going for refuge in the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. Bottom is just an extraction. Many suttas. The bottom one, the Punya Abhisanda Sutta, is only one of the suttas that mention the 5 precepts. There are other suttas that mention the 5 precepts, which we recited during the puja just now. And within the 5 precepts also, there's another sutta, the Vanija Sutta, that talks about the 5 traits or occupations that they call practitioners should avoid. All these are causing hurt to other living beings. Trading in weapons, we should avoid. Killing creatures, we should not be dealing with meat, intoxicants and poisons. Okay, all these cause hurt to other living beings in one way or another. So indirectly, we are talking about right livelihood in the Noble Eightfold Path also. Again, here is yet another Dhammapada verse, number 16. The doer of good rejoices here and hereafter. He rejoices in both the worlds. He rejoices and exults, recollecting his own pure deeds. So, in this life, after you have performed it, and hereafter, you rejoice. In the earlier Dhammapada verse, we talk about delighting. Here is rejoices. Now, after observing the 5 precepts, the Buddha talks about earning even more merits. Number 12. It will be more fruitful to develop a heart of love, metta cittang, even just as long as you pull cows under, then to undertake the training rules. Now, notice the first earlier batch, a lot of lists of dana. Then the Buddha lists building a dwelling for the Sangha to use is even higher than dana. And observing taking the 3 refuges is even higher. You earn more merits because of that, because there's an affirmation or commitment to practice according to the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. And the next stage, even more merits, is you undertake to practice the 5 precepts. And here, we're talking about meditation already. Notice the precepts are sila. Earlier was dana, that one. Number 11 was sila. And number 12 is bhavana, mental cultivation. So we are trying to develop hearts of love. That means both meditating on loving kindness. So the Karaniya, Metta Sutta and such like are very important here. And example of metta, in this case, this sutta actually is the Kalama Sutta. Most people call it the Sutta on don't believe. The sutta also teaches meditation, but it does not confine itself to metta. This particular sutta talks about keeps a person keeps pervading, radiating thoughts of loving kindness to the first direction, which is the east, as well as the second direction, which is the south, the third direction, which is the west, and the fourth direction, it is the north. Not like the Orang Putih, Western education is north, south, east, west, but here we are Asian, so India starts with east, south, west, then north, cardinal directions. So in this case, radiating loving kindness or metta or goodwill in these four directions, and it goes further. Thus, he keeps pervading above, below, all around, everywhere, and in every respect, the all-encompassing cosmos. So you go beyond planet Earth. Okay, thoughts of loving kindness. And this Brahma Vihara meditation goes further. Not just metta. Talk about rating thoughts of compassion, thoughts of appreciation or sympathetic joy, thoughts of equanimity, all four. These kind of meditations, if you're able to do it very, very deeply, when you are, and you will be able to attain jhana, first, second, third, and even fourth jhana, what happens is that when you pass away, you are disqualified from being born in the Deva world. You will be born in the Brahma world. Okay, number 12, plane assistant number 12 and above. These are very, very high levels. But in the earlier list, the Velāma Sutta, the Buddha only tell you, just develop thoughts of loving kindness. But in the Kalama Sutta, the Buddha is teaching the lay people how to cultivate Brahma Viharas already. And it goes further still, which is, this one is the last one. It will be more fruitful to develop the perception of impermanence. Okay, even for as long as a finger snap, than to do all these things. That means including developing the heart of love. So this is interesting. Now here we are going to a different kind of meditation. Earlier meditation is bhavana, but more of concentrating the mind in thoughts of love and compassion. This one is analyzing, looking at phenomena, looking at anicca, dukkha, and anatta. But more importantly, this one is talking about anicca, impermanence. So you're able to see the anicca within your thoughts, within your mind. So this is called the Satipatthana practice already. Now, what do you mean by all this meditation into thoughts of impermanence and so on? Here I just provide you some snapshots. In the Khanda Sutta, the word Khanda means aggregate. In other cultures, what are we? We are body and soul. From the Buddhist point of view, the Buddha said we are made up of 5 aggregates, the Pancha Khanda. And these 5 aggregates comprise the form, that means the body. We have feelings, we have perception, we have thinking, the fabrications, the thoughts, and we have consciousness. These are the 5 aggregates that we are made of this. In the sutta, sometimes the Buddha uses nama rupa. Nama means the mind. The mind is made up of feelings, perception, fabrications, and consciousness. And then body, of course, the physical body. And the Buddha goes on. The Buddha picks up one particular one. In fact, he goes through the other senses. Now, monks, the I is impermanent, perishing, and changing. Now, impermanent, perishing, and changing indirectly is describing anicca and dukkha. Now, impermanent, the one we know, the I itself is not permanent. Perishing means while we are using the I, it itself is changing. It is already degrading and of course changing. So these are aspects of dukkha. And then the Buddha goes on to talk about the ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, and the mind. In Western science, we're talking about the 5 senses. Buddha treats it as 6. Number 6 is the mind. The mind is also a sense organ. And it goes further. What is the eye used for? To see. So monks' sights are impermanent, perishing and changing. Even sounds, smells, tastes, touches and thoughts are also impermanent, perishing and changing. And not just the sights, the perception of those sights. Perception of sight itself is impermanent, perishing and changing. And the Buddha goes on to talk about sounds, smells, tastes, touches and thoughts. Notice all these are individual suttas. So I give you the links, you can go and read the sutta. I only provide the excerpts from this. These are going deeper and deeper to what I call insight meditation, to observe all this with your deep concentration. And then when your eye is able to perceive a sight, consciousness arises. It means you are aware of what you are seeing. So even that awareness or that consciousness is impermanent, perishing and changing. And similarly, for what you hear, the nose, what you smell, the tongue, what you taste, body consciousness and the mind consciousness, all these are impermanent, perishing and changing. So the Buddha covers a lot of bases, okay, very, very thorough. Not only that, after you are aware of what you saw, feelings arise. Why feeling arise? Well, we are touching on the dependent origination already, without going too deep, just touching a little bit. So monks, feeling born of eye contact is impermanent, perishing and changing. So similarly for all the others. So in the end, you come across this list of 3 Dhammapada verses frequently mentioned. All conditioned things are impermanent. Now here, impermanent we know, we keep on hearing the Buddha say impermanent, impermanent. But the emphasis is also on conditioned things. Everything in the universe, except for one, everything else is conditioned. Why? Because of something, then this thing arises. Okay, so that's why the Buddha says all conditioned things are impermanent. And then the second famous Dhammapada verse is all conditioned things are unsatisfactory, are dukkha. So again, conditioned things. Everything in the universe except for one item is conditioned. And all things are not self. Notice the other 2 are all conditioned things, but impermanent. All conditioned things are unsatisfactory. But the last one is different. The Buddha didn't use the word unconditioned, or didn't use the word condition. He used the term all things are not self. So it means everything, 100% of everything in the universe, all these things are not self. There's no soul, there's nothing permanent there, and so on. So this is the essence. So when you go into deeper and deeper meditations, using the recommended practice of Satipatthana, you are trying to observe this. Okay. Now we go back to the Velāma Sutta. There was giving you snapshots here and there. Notice the Velāma Sutta touches on a lot of things, touches basically on the whole, all the Buddha's teachings. Here, up to number 8, we are talking about dana, many kinds of dana. As I started off this midway to this talk, I mentioned about a lot of Buddhists are fixated with the idea of earning merits by dana. Okay, so please do not be confined to this. Don't think that giving food is the only way to make merits. Number 9, the Buddha talked about building a dwelling for the Sangha's use is also one. And it goes further. Okay, notice on the left column after the numbering, I put in the blue boxes, dana, dana, dana. And then number 10, we talk about saranang. Saranang means going for refuge in the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha is also meritorious. And number 11, sila, the practice of cultivation of virtue and what they call moral training, undertaking the training rules is also meritorious, even more meritorious than offering food. And number 12 and 13 are mental cultivation, bhavana. So number 12 is developing loving kindness, metta, bhavana. And number 13 is developing the perception of impermanence. Okay, this is part of the Satipatthana practice, the deeper level of. So This sutta talks about dana, sila, bhavana in great detail, and it orders, the Buddha orders for you which kind of activity generates even more merits. So please do not be, to confine your understanding to, I must only dana can earn merits. Hey, what about your going for refuge? What about practicing the 5 precepts? They want even more merits than dana. More merits than the Sangika dana, no. This is higher level, the Buddha himself classified. And the Buddha encourages you to do meditation, okay? Metta meditation and going to the Satipatthana practice. So here clearly the Buddha encompasses the whole spectrum of generating merits. Of course, once from number 13, you have already gained enlightenment, you become Arahat, you have gone beyond making merits. The Arahat cannot make merits anymore, and he does not need any more merits because he has done what must be done. He has achieved enlightenment, and he will, when his life ends, there's no more birth, no more aging, no more dying, because like the Buddha. So this is the purpose of Buddhism in the first place. So here is a reminder that we can earn merits by cultivating dana, sila, bhavana. So don't concentrate on yourself only on making dana, but please also go into cultivating sila as well as mental development. Now, I've covered many suttas, some very short and some a bit more detailed. But if maybe it's too much for most audiences, but the most important thing you need to take home when you walk out after this morning sharing is that of this teaching from the Dhammapada verse 183. Sabba papusa akaranam kusadasa upasampada sacitta paridapanam etang buddhana sasana. That we should avoid all evil actions, all actions, speech, thought, and all that. That means avoid all evil, cultivate good or do good, and purify your mind. This is the teaching of the Buddhas. Okay, this summarizes the whole of the Buddha's teaching. Okay, this one not only summarizes it for the people who are practicing. It also gives you a reminder. Hey, what shall I practice today? Wow, the Buddha's teaching spent 45 years. So many things. You cannot remember all of that. Never mind. Go use this Dhammapada verse 183 to remind yourself. Okay, I should avoid evil. How do you avoid evil? Practice the 5 precepts. 5 precepts means avoidance. Abstain. It's a basic level. Do good. Well, opposite of the 5 precepts. If you don't kill, you try to save lives, and so on. Purify your mind. Loving kindness meditation or Satipatthana practice meditation, and so on. So this one summarizes what the Buddha has been teaching. If any of your family members, your friends, whether they are Buddhist or non-Buddhist, a Muslim or Hindu or anybody would ask you, hey, what does Buddhism teach? This one summarizes very nicely. Okay, so that one is important. So with that, this is the end of the talk. Saddhammo cirang titatu. May the good doctrine long endure. Sabbe satta sukhi hontu. May all beings be happy.